So I intended to do a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 completely fresh. And I started one, and I thought, I know about D&D 5th edition. I'm going to try to make a Sorlock. And you'll see that playthrough elsewhere on my channel. That's Inari, and it's a lot of fun, but I'm beginning to realize that the difference between D&D 5th edition and Baldur's Gate 3, there are differences, and the ones I have seen make sense, but I don't always anticipate them. So I'm not actually sure that my concept of how I'm going to multi-class makes sense. Additionally, unlike some of the other Larian games I've played, when you select a class at the beginning, you don't see the entire progression of the class in the game. So I'm not actually sure what abilities a character will get in several levels based on choices I'm making now. And that's disturbing for some things. For instance, the Warlock could choose to a major decision now, and it will say as a subnote, this will affect something later. But you don't know what, and you don't know how. So I think that my first actual playthrough all the way through to the end should be with a non-multi-classed character. Inari is still in Act 1, and since I have never finished Act 1, I don't know whether I'm still at the beginning of it, or near the end of it, or in the middle of it, or what. So I don't believe that I have spoiled too much of the story for myself. I do know character backgrounds and some of the beginnings of the quests, but like I said, I've got about 80 hours in the game now, which is, yeah, I've been spending too long playing this game, but right. So we're going to start a game, and I'm going to play a class that I know very, very well. I'm going to build a rogue, and I'm going to attempt to equip that rogue with hand crossbows. And I am going to see if I can just basically take things out at range with 2 hand crossbows as a rogue and have some fun with it, because I know that's a combination that works pretty well. I know that there are certain companions that I don't particularly want to spend a lot of time with, Asterion, Lizel, but there are some that I do, and I think as a rogue I can fit into that party neatly. So I'll tell you up front, I like Shadowheart. I think she's got some dark bits of her background that we'll have to work through. Will is an outstanding character, and Karlach is my favorite companion so far. I would put her right up with some of the companions I've had in Fallout games that have been outstanding. So, let's build a rogue. This is a rebuild in spirit of a tabletop character that I played in a Strahd campaign. I'm not a tactician. It won't be complete because in tabletop, at least with the group that I was with, I'll be skipping a lot of the cutscenes, by the way. The table I'm with, very heavily into dramatic role play. Lots of serious thinking and exploration and ideas, things that CRPGs don't do very well. So I'm not going to map the character across perfectly. I am going to do custom origin. I'm tempted to do a Dark Urge playthrough, but I think I shouldn't do Dark Urge until I've played all the way through to the end of the game at least once. And I want to meet all of the origin characters on the road, so to speak. So that leaves me with custom. Race. As I said, I am basically recreating a character. Let me actually bring up the character sheet so I can come fairly close. I will be adjusting it for in-game play. So this is not going to be exact. So those of you who happen to have been playing in that particular campaign that Rob ran, no, the stats aren't going to be the same. But this is basically a recreation of Farsight Nearkettle. And I am going to, basically, I'm going to say this isn't Farsight, because Farsight is now a level 12 Lightfoot Halfling Rogue. This is Farsight's sister. So she's a Lightfoot Halfling. She's also a rogue. They basically had the same background, the same upbringing. They have the same talents. They're almost twins. I wonder if my old DM would be okay with me retconning that Tav is his twin sister. Fraternal twin, of course. Yeah, probably be okay since the Strahd campaign is actually over. We may revisit and do a follow-up at some point. But if Tav ever appears in that setting, at least Tav will have some background. So, Farsight, clear. Farsight was rogue all the way. And he wouldn't make a good map into this game as the first character because he didn't have great charisma. He had a 14 charisma in the end, which was good. So he basically had boosted up his dexterity and his intelligence and his wisdom. And I boost intelligence by habit because I'm an old line player where boosting intelligence gets you more ability points. I'm not going to do that this time. I do want charisma. In fact, let's put our 1 point in charisma here. Farsight was optimized for the twin crossbows. Let's go all the way into dexterity. So that leaves us with 9 points. What can I get in the way of constitution? If I go there, that gives me minuses and a whole bunch of other things. Now, I'm a halfling, so I'm willing to accept minuses in strength, and I'm a rogue, so I'm willing to accept a minus in wisdom, put the other 2 points in intelligence. This doesn't map onto Farsight very well. He was 10, 20, 14, 18, so he had huge intelligence. His wisdom was high. His dump stat was strength. I also rolled really well on him, so I'm not sure I could actually hit his numbers with a point buy. But that gets that basically set. Now, background, like I said, this is a CRPG. I am going to be the party face whether I like it or not. And this is why a warlock or a paladin or a sorcerer makes a really good party face, because they are charisma based. I'm not charisma based. Well, I'm not supposed to be charisma based. So if I knocked charisma down, what would I get out of it? I might be able to not have negatives in wisdom. Well, what skill proficiencies are wisdom? This is not... Other displays will break them out by stat. This just lists the stats. So I'm looking for wisdom here. What would I lose out on? I'd lose out on animal handling, insight, medicine. So perception. Yeah, I need wisdom. So I'm going to knock my charisma down a bit. I want to bring wisdom up to a 12. And the strength, how bad is it that I have it at -1 on strength? Athletics, I can deal with athletics being low. I won't be able to jump high, but I already know that often if there's a place I have to jump, I can also find some boxes. And I think athletics might be the only... that's interesting. So athletics looks like it's the only skill that's strength-based. So I'm not too worried about the 8 strength. Also, that means my carry weight is lower, but I will have people around me that can carry things. And I can send things to camp. Okay? So I don't have to haul everything around. So let's take a look at our skill proficiencies. Take away all the points and consider it de novo. My background, she gives me religion and insight. Is that what I really want? No, I do not want an acolyte. Guild artisan gives me insight and persuasion, which is great for a party face. Sage is actually what Farsight Nearkettle had. Like I said, he went into inquisitive rogue and investigation and arcana and history in a big way. But mapping him into this game, I can't keep all that. I've got to keep the crossbow stuff, so I'm going to get rid of the sage thing, and I'm going to look at the rest of these. So criminal would help me with deception and stealth. Oh, if I had this on entertainer, acrobatics and performance, so that would be these two. So what do I get normally if everything is off? Kind of, not a lot. I get some good sleight of hand and stealth because of my dexterity. So, background, guild artisan. This gives the insight and persuasion, or I could go with urchin for sleight of hand and stealth. I think that in the interest of being a rogue, I better do urchin, or possibly criminal. Let's do urchin. Sleight of hand is important because there's a lot of lockpicking and trap undoing that I want to do. So given that, what else do I want to adjust here? I don't really need to go to a 17 in dexterity. Getting an odd number here is great if I'm gonna at level 4 put a point in dexterity and a point somewhere else. If I put this down to 16, that gives me 2 points to raise something else. And that means that level 4, I can bump this twice, or I can choose a feat. And that's still, it's still the same character at level 1. I could put 2 more points in intelligence, because that changes skill proficiencies. So that's arcana and history. There's a kind of a display bug here. These should be +1. All these intelligence rolls. There's a lot of things here that are based on intelligence. So by bumping intelligence up to 12, I will have some good rolls on those checks. Now everything's even. So if I'm putting points into something as I level up, I would just dump 2 points in dexterity at 4 and 2 more points at 8. And I believe 12 is the cap. At 12, I would do something else. So in theory, I could take a feat at one of those and still hit 20 on dexterity on my base to go up. I will also be looking for gear that pumps dexterity. So this is a nice rounded build. It's not the numbers that Farsight had, but it is a decent rogue, and I will be able to do crossbows with it very neatly. So what do I want here? Crossbow party face. Stealth and sleight of hand expertise. Yes. So if I'm sneaking, I'm sneaking. I'm really sneaking. I believe Lightfoot Halfling is naturally stealthy, which means I get advantage on this roll along with the +7. But that's good. So now I have 4 points to put into these guys. Well, perception, very important. And I can't do this yet. Persuasion, very important. Now, of the rest of these, deception, intimidation, and performance are all kind of together. I think performance more is a bard thing, but I think it comes into play for some other things. I'm going to put the other points into intimidation and deception. I'm going to try to be a badass rogue with 2 crossbows and 2 short swords. Or whatever light finesse weapons I can dual wield. Remember, single class. I'm not going to dip into warrior. I'm not going to dip into ranger. That's for later. So I think this is going to be my build. And we'll try very hard to pick up some crossbows. I may have to do some, check the vendor, go spend the night at camp, check the vendor again, go spend the night at camp. I may have to grind through a few cycles of that in order to get myself some hand crossbows, because it seems like if I'm playing a character that can't use them, I'll see 4 or 5 in the first hour. And if I'm playing a character that needs them, I won't find them until I'm like level 4. That kind of irritates me. So I may cheese the game a little bit to get the character build started. So now the important part, just for the record, we are 16 minutes into the recording, and I'm starting to pick my hair color, essentially. This is a female character.
It's opened. More of those wretched things. There's magic keeping this chest sealed.
And for me, that voice matches this character. What face do I want? I think this is the one that I want. Okay. Skin color. Kind of like the warm tones, although that's a good color. That looks like a person. Something I always do. I always like to get my characters with green or turquoise eyes and red hair. And for makeup, I picked that one early on, and I think having something constant across all of my characters that I build would be a good idea. So I'm going to settle on always using that makeup style, even on my male characters. Oh, I didn't see that we could change the color. Oh, that'll do. Hair. Looking for a hairstyle that a rogue would wear. Lots of hairstyles in this game. So this is the one that I ended up with on Inari. And it's kind of, I'm looking at thinking, as a rogue, I would probably want to tie it back. So any of these flowing styles probably won't work. This is more, I want to be an elf. No. I find that working through it backwards gives me a little bit more of a sense of what is there. If I work through it forward, I tend to skip forward because I'm reading, and I read fast. Oh, good Lord. Is that a Karen? That's not a Karen. Okay. Yeah, it makes me laugh, but I'm not going to choose it. Oftentimes, if something makes me laugh, I will go with it just because it made me laugh. Oh, good Lord, no. Well, that seems kind of sensible. Keep my hair up and out of the way. It looks like it's something that you would set up and it would last for a while. But is there something that would be out of my way and fairly low maintenance and kind of thing that a rogue would do? Not that. A lot of these are hairstyles that if you were out in the wilderness, you would get rid of very quickly. No, doesn't fit my notion of what this character is at all. don't know, that might work. Looks like I just kind of don't care about it and hack it off when I need to, and yeah. Haven't seen anything that really strikes me as perfect for this character. Lots of great hairstyles, though. So hair color. That's a little bit, just a touch darker. There we go. And highlights. Let's bring a little bit more red in. Okay, so in this hairstyle, the highlights are kind of a fringe around the front. Let's do this a little bit differently. Darken it up a bit. Not that dark. I could go with that. Yeah, that will work. If I lighten the rest of it, yeah, we could do that. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I don't often know what I've got in mind when I do these things. And once I get to playing with her, that'll just be who she is. Okay, facial hair. If I were playing a dwarf, she would have a beard, but she is not a dwarf. So in and out of character selection in between 5 and 10 minutes, because I've been through here before and know basically what I'm looking like. And you know, so I'm not going to hide her clothes and choose what she looks like naked, because we're not going there. So we now have our little rogue, and she is definitely dexterity based, decent charisma, decent constitution, and strength is her dump stat, and everything else is decent. Prepare to save scum. And Tav is the name that everybody gets, and you use it because you forgot to change it. But I am Tav Nearkettle. And I come from a little brewery kind of off to the east of Baldur's Gate, if that's allowed in this particular game. This is background from a previous campaign. I'm trying to tag it into that same character's family. It gives me more of a sense of who this person is. I need a guardian. I see no reason to change this guardian, because you don't really you don't play the guardian. I can change all this about their appearance. I can change the race and what they generally look like and all of that. But honestly, I don't think that the character would have a choice about their guardian. I have no real vision in my head of who this character's guardian might be. Let's skip over the cutscenes. Y'all play Baldur's Gate 3, you know what the cutscenes are. I may allow cutscenes to play later on if it's a cutscene that it's not something everybody sees all the time. Okay. So is that me? Yes, I think that looks like a me. So, hit Alt to see a few of the things. It doesn't show us everything we can look at, but it does highlight a few things. I also see that there's a rim up here. Let's start off by checking out this nursery.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
And I think I can turn up the game some. Not a lot. That's about right. Investigate the pool. So a bit over 50-50 shot at this. There we go.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
I think I like the idea of making it crumble. There will be spoilers. If you don't make your saving throw and then you touch it, you actually take some damage. But that's okay because there's a restoration pod up there. So don't save scum unless it's really, really important. And definitely play through the failure path before deciding you're going to save scum out of it. Oh, and before we go too much further, let's get the hotbar set up to be useful. I really want my healing potion and my scroll of revivify. I don't often use the scrolls of revivify, but it's there in case I need it. Oops. I like to set these up in a way that's consistent. I wonder if I can just do 3 rows. Let's do the full 4 rows. This way, if I need a lot of skills later on in the game, everything will still be where I'd normally put it, but some of the blank spots will be filled in. So we've got 2 columns for melee. And what I'm thinking is primary hand and action stuff here. I'll take bonus actions off to the right. The things like my offhand attack when I'm tool wielding. That is action. That's an action sneak attack. And then same thing for ranged. And we've got one more column out here for whatever. And we'll see what happens there. Oh, I need one more thing here. Notice that 4 of these have letters on them. Whoops. So Z, X, C, and V are bound to these actions. So what I'm doing is I'm placing them here on the hotbar in the order they are on my keyboard so that I don't confuse myself and hit the wrong button for the wrong thing. And if you say that can't happen, I'd say, you don't know me, do you? Okay, so there's her hotbar set up. The second thing is we have some reactions here. And for example, opportunity attack. If somebody is within melee range with you and they move away and move out of your melee range, you have the opportunity attack that you can make. And it's always at your option whether you want to do it or not. Okay, same as in D&D. But if you don't do anything, in the UI, it's going to default to always do it. So instead, I am going to go through and I'm going to say always ask. So if somebody's in melee range with me and they move out of melee range, it will say, do you want to opportunity attack? If I do a attack on somebody, and it could be a sneak attack, it's going to say, do you want this to be a sneak attack? And apparently you can separately choose whether sneak attacks are automatic for critical or non-critical. So for instance, you could say automatically sneak attack if I get a critical, but ask me if it's not. I'm going to ask always, because even if I always say yes, I want to know that it did it. And usually what I will do is I will actually select sneak attack and verify that I can before I make the attack, because that's important to me. So we go back and we start looking at our other things. We see that there's a passive here, which is not normally placed on the bar. And I'm going to put this down here. So we can go to non-lethal attacks if we want. The rest of these are all on the bar. And alchemy comes later, and there's our equipment. So we have one package of thieves' tools. We have some camp supplies, and not a whole lot else.
Dead.
So my middle names are Loot Everything. can jump with the Z key. And because my character is weak sauce, I will not be able to jump as high as some other characters. But I can still jump. Let's go take a look at the other side. There's another rim up here. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Want to hold down Alt so I could see what's coming up. There's an onyx on that area, that table over there.
Might be useful.
Got a rune slate.
Visions project into your mind. An Nautiloid hurtling through the plains, resplendent with psionic energy.
Okay, if you add something to wares, when you get to a vendor, in one button you can sell all your wares. But if you move inventory from your inventory to the camp or to another character, no, at least if you move it to the camp, that flag goes away. And I'll be sending most things to the camp, so it's not really worth it for me to mark things as wares as I loot them. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else, so let's head back down. Oh, here is this restoration thing.
I feel
If I had taken any damage, it would have completely healed me. And apparently, in this tutorial section, you can hit them as many times as you want. So they really want you to head into each encounter completely full health during the tutorial, so you get to learn without, dying in the tutorial at the wrong time.
Images of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind.
Okay.
Images of goblins, their
Pick
habits
up.
and histories flash into your mind.
Modest amounts of gold here. Little voice off to my left calling to me, but we'll get to her. Him, it, whatever. Let's see, this Eldritch tablet, I hit the other way, so it did not read it.
1,000 years of humanoid history, elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
Okay, I just noticed something. With a strength of 8, I can still carry 240 pounds. That is quite a lot. So I'm not too worried about that strength 8. Let's go up above. Help us. Murnath. He doesn't look so good.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Who am I talking to? A man or a brain?
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
I don't know. It might be my friend. If I can save it from this thing.
Remove us from this body, from this case. Free us, please.
So it wants me to remove the brain from the body. I can investigate, which gets a +1. I can do a strength check. I probably won't normally be doing strength checks if I have a choice. Or I can do a dexterity. So I can dexterously prise the brain from the skull, or I can do a lower percentage investigation check, which might get me something else. I think investigation is for characters that have neither strength nor dexterity in this case. I will go with what I'm good at. So I'm going to dexterously prise the brain from the skull. I don't know what the difficulty classes on those checks were, though. So we have a +3 from dexterity. We got a decent chance of succeeding. And we fail. So I'm not going to save scum this because I haven't been saving. And it's not that important anyway.
The brain won't budge.
So I can either destroy it or leave. I'm going to leave. I may be able to come back and try again with a different character or a different way later. Oh, what's this? Neural apparatus. Huh, it calls the elevator. Well, in the cutscenes, we're seeing all sorts of illithids. So they're all psionic and neural and all of that. So kind of makes sense that they would do that. It's probably capable of much more than just moving that thing up and down. Also, a whole lot of things happening in the cutscene. But we're being attacked by dragons, and we're being forced down, and we're crashing, and we've broken free, and now we're headed up to try to, I don't know, somehow escape this place. And we saw her break free.
This is your end.
She doesn't like me.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
What is this?
Skvar, you are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
So, not sure I like her, since her first assumption was that I was a thrall.
Mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers.
We're turning into mind flayers? There must be something we can
We can
do.
do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. We will address the matter of a cure for this infection once we reach the material plane.
Okay, so I noticed that I have one short sword. Level 1 rogue with one short sword. And whatever she is with her big sword. I hope these guys aren't too tough. So initiative. They haven't taught us this in game yet, but if you have two characters that are adjacent on the initiative, they can take their turns in any order. In fact, they can mix them up. So I can go to Lizelle and have her run up. And I go back to Tav, and Tav could shoot a crossbow if she had one. But I don't, so instead I'm going to run up.
Path lies before me.
The monster is threatened, so I can do a sneak attack. And that leaves Lizelle with nothing to attack. So she's going to head off that way.
What now?
And I'm going to loot the imp. Imp had a scimitar. I don't think I can use scimitars. I should have looted the mind flare before it came up.
Victory awaits.
And spacebar to advance the turn. I really, really want hand crossbows, but at this point I will take any finesse weapon so I can dual hand them. I will take any ranged weapon so that I can be shooting instead of melee. Still, that's a pretty good haul to start with. Now, Lizelle, you're going to go kill that guy. Oh.
No time to waste.
I forgot about the attack of opportunity from the close guy.
Can't even
Okay,
catch
so
my breath.
Tav.
You've made a grave mistake.
No, I made a mistake. I should have. Okay, so he's
You prove surprising.
he's actually not dead.
Now, to the house.
So let's take a look at her.
Flackets will be done.
She is a companion, so I will be controlling her. So we get everything set up like that. This is a rush attack, which I'm going to put there because it is an action. It can go there. Hamstring shot. Pommel strike is a bonus action. Lacerate's an action. Get the common stuff in the right place. There's a method to my madness. Z is jump, so I've got jump, dash, and disengage all in one column. C is hide. X is throw, so throw and improvised melee weapon need to be together. There. So throw and hit him with a chair. This is hide, so we'll do hide and other self actions here. This is shove, so shove and help and dip are all kind of related. I suppose I could put dip in this one. Yeah, I'll do that. Which means I need to also fix.
I wish to live in more interesting times.
So there's me. There's her. So let's take a look. She has a bow. Yoink. I'll take that bow. Thank you. And an offhand hand axe, I am not proficient at it. So even wielding it is probably not a good idea because I might try to swing it. Scimitars, I am also... Hold on. Not proficient. Okay. Still not a bad attack roll for not being proficient. So I've picked up a ranged weapon. Now for her, she's got Mage Hand, which is kind of like throwing. She has Second Wind, which is a self-heal. In my casters, I'm going to keep some columns for on this panel for spells that I can cast that are learned that come and go, and then we'll put class stuff and such out here. I'll just keep these down to the right. I will reorganize the spells over time so they're staying consistent. And ask me for opportunity attacks. So the question is, do I want to go back and have her try to release that thing? She's got a really good strength, so I think she could make a strength check out of it.
True way.
So I sometimes joke about old school D&D paladins being what's called lawful stupid, where they were, uphold the law, no matter what. They've signed oaths to uphold the law or whatever, and they are so locked into their oath or what they feel is right that they're kind of stupid about everything else. Well, personally, my alignment is related. I'm what's called stupid good. I have a great heart in these games. I play characters that tend to have a great heart and do what they feel is good and nice for the people around them. And sometimes they just do stupid shit.
Action, not reaction.
So this coming back here to try to get this brain out of this guy's head is what I would call a stupid good action, because it's something that wants to be pulled free.
Come to save us from this place. From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation. You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Okay, so she has investigation, flat. She's got strength +3, dexterity +1, and as a Githyanki, she really doesn't like this thing, so she wants to destroy it. I don't agree with her. I think she and I are not going to get along. So she's going to break the skull to let it free. She's got a +3. Well, okay, kind of overkill on that. So her way of doing things is a little more brutal, a little more strength-oriented.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
Down Lizelle. Please spare the creature. Who knows? Actions like this sometimes have long-term consequences.
You're free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes
It's either
seizes in recognition.
really ugly or kind of cute. I'm not sure
Return.
which.
At the helm, we are needed. Us. We are us.
Its name is Us. Who's on first? Okay, let's go.
To the helm we go. We are going to the helm.
No one's stopping
Okay,
yet.
so apparently it's imprinted on Lizelle.
Still breathing.
That's fine.
Despite everything.
Actually, let's just run down.
Then through.
So Lizelle took a couple of points of damage in that fight earlier. Now, if I had made my saving throws, we would have faced this fight with this little Us. Now, notice that he is level 1, but he's got twice our hit points already. And now we can run around and just loot everything up.
Open up.
Did I get everything? I might have already looted all this stuff. Although it's not saying empty. Ah, crossbow. 2 crossbows. Get these looted and go through and see what we've got.
The ship won't be able to take another dragon attack. We need to get out before it's too late.
Okay, let's stop here. I've looted a bunch of stuff. You can sort. So, for instance, if I sort by weight, it's going to have the heavy stuff first. You can sort by value, which has the expensive stuff first. I can sort by type, so put all the weapons together and so on. And in fact, that's the order I like things, is that kind of combination of sort. We'll group things by type, and then within type, valuable first, and at the same value, just sorted by weight, I don't care. That keeps the sort kind of stable. So we want to use a light crossbow, which does slightly more points, and it's actually, that went to +5. Was this a +5? Yes. So it's the same attack roll, and it's a bigger die, so it'll do a little more damage. It's not that important. But I do have a second short sword. Notice that it didn't give me a penalty on my main hand attack. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you have this toggle dual wielding turned on, when you attack, it will attack and it will attack with both weapons. Okay? So you only have to click on attack once and it'll dual wield. You want to turn off toggle dual wielding if you're intending to main hand attack one target and then offhand attack a different target. So that gave us some new abilities that we need to put into place. So we've got offhand attack, which is a bonus action. We've got our ranged attack. We've got our piercing strike, which is an action. We've got our piercing shot, which is an action. Flourish is once per short rest. So I used that early on, not realizing it was once per short rest. So we lock that back up. And Lizelle, if we use tab, we can see everybody's at once. Let's give Lizelle the crossbow too. And let's compare it. So +3, 2 to 9 versus +3, 2 to 7. So she also wants a crossbow. I noticed in previous plays in this game that there's little difference, if any, between crossbows and short bows. They don't model having to load the crossbow between shots. Okay, so for example, Farsight Nearkettle had some proficiencies that allowed him to shoot with crossbows every round rather than shoot with it and then spend the next round reloading it. Apparently we don't need that in Baldur's Gate 3, so I will be more effective with crossbows at lower levels. I don't know what they did to balance it, but I expect they did something. So she's all set up. Check her. Oh, she got a whole bunch of new actions here. So if you don't have a ranged weapon in hand, it will take those off the bar. And when you equip a ranged weapon, it'll put them back on, but it'll automatically shuffle them into whatever position. So, meh. Lock. And that's locked. Good. We did pick up a throwable. The Void Bomb is throwable. I never remember to throw things, so you'll see me just selling those knowing that I'm never going to use it. So onward and upward. Wait, was there there was a blue thing down there we could use to heal up Lizelle before we go onward. Makes sense. We had the encounter in this area, and they're trying to get us back up to full between encounters, so each encounter we can learn new things. So, everybody healed up. It doesn't do that in the main game. You don't just automatically heal everybody up to full after every encounter. I mean, you can do that, but you have to go to camp and do a long rest, which costs you food. Okay, so what do we have here?
Back! Touch nothing without knowing its purpose.
Well, it sounds to me like I need to know some purposes here. Let's do a quick save. We've got pushes. These guys say push. These sigils have a thing we can do. Let's take a look at this. Use. I think if I just click on it. So Arcana, so I've passed Arcana check for Annihilate. Let's bring up our combat log. So this was a DC 15 Arcana check, which I have a +1 on, so I got lucky on that one. So this button annihilates. What's the next button do? I don't know. So 2 failures and a success. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to unlink the party so that Lizelle can move. And she is going to run up about Cha. And he's going to run up about Cha. Because I'm suspecting that these guys, something's going to happen with these guys when I start hitting buttons.
Can't give up now.
And I am going to push the button.
She messed
Oh, darn. I get some experience points. Okay, so I'm up first. Can I get in position for a... Yes, I can actually get a critical hit on my crossbow on him. 80% chance to hit there. And now I'm going to run up next to him just in case I need to fight him. And Us has claws. And apparently I have blocked Us from getting in there. Well, we're all together on the initiative now. So she is going to pommel strike first. Pommel strike potentially will daze the enemy. And she didn't that time, so she's just going to attack. Oops, let's bring the party back together
as well as it could have.
and loot them up. Okay. So our real reward there was the experience points. Somebody in here is screaming.
You! Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers.
Remember, alignment is stupid good. So look for a latch, or there's no time, or I'll look around. I would look for a latch.
The construction is too alien. Nothing looks familiar.
This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a stranger?
If I have to, yes. I'll go look around. There must be a way to get it open.
Next to the pod. They did something to it when they sealed me in.
Contraption next to the pod. Well, probably not that. Oh, touch. There's another button.
The console appears dormant. The mechanisms are completely unrecognizable at first. But then you spy an empty socket.
A socket. Okay, so I'm looking for something that would fit in the socket.
Whatever fits in that socket must power this thing.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So there's a whole bunch of stuff over here. I'm guessing it's not going to be the necklace or the manuscript or the dark mind.
In a jar.
Read.
Faint images appear in your mind. A brain, a Githyanki warrior, and centuries of darkness.
Okay. So I now have a dark mind. Yeah, I need a key to open it. So I'm going to head through here. There's a number of things that were drawing my eye in that direction, so I'm going to do it.
At the ready.
Dead Thrall, a little intellect devourer running around. He's not my intellect devourer, he's a different one. Well, there's a gold key and another scimitar. So if I was proficient with scimitars, I could be dual wielding scimitars now. And they are light and finesse, so it's unfortunate that I didn't choose a race that had scimitars. But like I said, this is a recreation of an existing character, and I picked halfling for reasons. let's just make sure. Yes. So the reasons: brave is nice. Advantage on saving throws versus being frightened doesn't come into play very often, but a couple times it has saved my bacon in tabletop. Halfling luck is really cool. You're rolling, rolling, rolling. You get a 1. I'm a halfling. I can re-roll the 1. So for me to get a critical failure, I have to roll a 1 twice. That means not one chance in 20, but one chance in 400. So if this game enforces the rule of 1 always fails and 20 always wins, that means that if I need a 2 to succeed, or lower, a normal character would fail that 5% of the time, and I essentially would fail it much less. I'm naturally stealthy, so all the stealth checks I get to roll twice on. And opportunity attack is just, yeah.
Seems
So
simple enough.
that's why the halfling.
Dazed woman is trapped inside the pod. She doesn't notice you.
So I'm thinking that I'll take all of that over picking a race that can wield scimitars. So this button kind of looks like
As
the
you
button
place your
outside.
hand on the pod, you hear something. A presence connected to the pod, commanding the person inside to change.
Change her. Changed at the pull of a lever. How? If we are not purified, this may be our fate.
We need to get out of here
Okay,
before it's our turn.
but first we loot. So there's 2 more health potions. This is our second one of those mines. Still don't know what those are for. Even on my other character, I still don't know what those are for. But now I have something that might unlock the pod. Oh, and I've got a key that I can use. Let's go loot first, just in case letting that lady out of that pod does something. I'm a little worried now that there's a chance that letting her out of the pod. Let's see, onyx worth 35 and some gold. That was 50 gold worth. Okay. So I could attempt to let her out. Maybe she turns into Illithid. Or maybe she's let out. If I do nothing, she's going to see me walk away and she's going to be really mad at me for the rest of her life, which might not be that long. So I'm going to give it a shot.
The console appears dormant.
Insert the rune into the socket. So that is the rune.
The console hums to life. But what is its purpose? Will it free the captive or transform her like that other unfortunate?
Well, let's do an Arcana check. I do have a little bit of intelligence. Ooh, just barely.
The pulsing glow and organic lines of the device make it seem more like a beating heart than a machine. This device is different from the one that caused the other captive to transform. Perhaps it will open the nearby pod.
Okay, well, it's worth a shot.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. A parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
So, Illithid. Wisdom check. Ooh. I'm gonna use this. Oh, look at that. DC 2.
You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver river runs across your mind. You feel sated.
At last.
So,
Thought I was done for.
philosophical question that my character has to face is if you're trying to do good things, and to do the good thing you have to use an evil tool, does the use of an evil tool cause the good to be corrupted? And I think as a working hypothesis, she's going to go on the basis of important to do good things even if it means using an evil tool. So she will attempt to use this worm to her own ends.
Thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a gift with you.
You keep dangerous company. Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Okay, let's get going. I am Tav Nearkettle.
Shadowheart. One moment.
And she's got a D20.
It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
we now have Shadowheart in the party. I suppose it's not too spoilerific to say that she's actually one of my favorite characters. Oh, I already said it, didn't I? Let's see, Blessing of the Trickster. She's got a Sacred Flame cantrip, melee attack. She's got a Firebolt cantrip and a Concussive Smash. Rearrange these. I think that's the order I had everything in.
Not. No.
Yes.
Never mind.
This is guidance. We will be using guidance a lot. I don't like the spells she's got learned. So, as a cleric, what I want her to do. Oh, difference from 5th edition. Anytime outside of combat, your casters can change what spells they have prepared. Also, spells that are ritual. I have been able to cast ritual spells without expending a spell slot. We'll figure that out as time goes by. So, her cantrips are Guidance, Sacred Flame, and Resistance. Resistance is kind of help friends thing. Guidance is kind of a, yeah, so here, these are all here. And Sacred Flame is a 1d8 damage, not on an attack roll, but on a dex save. And she has Blessing of the Trickster, so she is a trickery domain cleric rather than life domain. I'm so used to seeing life domain. Blessing of the Trickster gives another creature advantage on stealth checks. She doesn't need to use that on Tav ever, because I already have it. So I may respec her out of Trickster into life domain to make her a better life domain cleric for healing, if Trickster is mainly organized at make us do things that a rogue can already do. So she can disguise herself, and she can charm person. Okay, so Bless. I want that on my bar because Bless gives a nice bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. They're great. Both heals. Made that mistake the first playthrough I started. I thought, well, Cure Wounds is 1d8 plus 3, and Healing Word is 1d4 plus 3, so clearly I don't need Healing Word. But check this out. Healing Word is a bonus action with a range of 60 feet. whereas Cure Wounds is walk up and touch them, and it's a melee action. So you can toss Healing Word across the room as a bonus action while healing somebody else or attacking or whatever. Okay, so there's that. So we got both heals. We've got Bless. I need one more, and I'm going to pick up Guiding Bolt because that's 46 radiant damage on an attack roll, and the next attack on that same target gets advantage. So you hit him with Guiding Bolt, and then somebody follows up with something big. Kind of like those. Sanctuary is also an amazing spell. Basically, the AI ignores you. It can't target you. So you can still take down your AoEs and from terrain and such. But for 10 turns, as long as you don't attack or harm a creature, you're good. Which means you've got Sanctuary on you. You can buff people, you can heal people, you can run around, you can pick up stuff from the ground, you can throw things as long as you don't attack or harm a creature. But I don't like it quite as much as the other ones I've got there. Some people will prefer Sanctuary. The rest of these, I mean, command is situational. I could command someone to flee, approach, go prone, or drop their weapon. You know, you command somebody to drop their weapon, and then you swoop in and you grab the weapon. That's tempting. I'm going to put up that one. I'm sure we'll have a boss battle before we get out of this prologue area, so I'm going to see if I can land that on the boss. That sounds like it might be fun. I have never tried that. Yeah, in 80 hours I've played through this a number of times, so I do know what's coming. But even without knowing what's coming, this is what I want to do with her, and I have never done this before. So take that off, and there's command. Okay. And I'm not sure what that plus is. Okay, so we are ready to go. I have looted everything. I've gone back in that area. And up on our mini-map here, we have a quest marker for Escape the Nautiloid that's to the south. So we're going to head south.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Now, my party order is messed up. I need to lead with the tough person in case we jump into battle. And I am going to be in back because I'm going to be using ranged attacks mainly. So there's our party marching order. Let's drop a quick save before we go through.
Curious.
Let's see what's next.
Objective noted.
So we got fire on the floor and we've got this. I'm going to step in here just in case.
Collected for study by Gay.
Oh, she clicked on this. Okay. So you can dip your weapons in terrain effects like fire, and they get a bonus to their damage.
We are nearing the helm. Once inside,
Not sure how long
do
it
as I
lasts.
say. Who put you in charge?
I'll trust my own judgment.
Cane Yank.
These gals don't like each other. That's okay. I am going to be trying to recruit all the companions as quickly as possible so I can get my preferred party set up.
Connect the nerves of the transport. We must escape. Now.
So during the cutscene,
Nerves. We will connect them.
during the cutscene, we saw one of these illithids put two of the nerve connections next to each other. So what I want to do is get up next to him, command him to drop his weapon, and then have somebody pick it up. Let's start off with... Oh, I also want to loot the heck out of everything. Okay, so he did that. We're all essentially at the same initiative, so I can move things around. So she's going to do what? Well, she has 2 level 1 slots. I want to reserve one for command. In fact, I'm going to reserve them both in case she has to repeat that. I should have given her a ranged weapon earlier. I believe that uses up her action. Yes, it does. So she can't actually cast this round. Lizelle is going to go over here.
I will not know failure.
So we have 15 turns to deal with this room. That includes looting and messing around with the boss like I'm planning. She's done. Us is done.
Can't stay idle.
I am going to sneak attack this guy. Okay, and now I'm going to see if I can loot him. Yep. Not a lot of loot this time.
Talk to me.
And she's going to loot the Intellect Devourer and run up.
Heading there.
Take this ship, or Zariel will have your head.
Okay, so my first priority is going to be getting my hands on that sword. I'm going to see if I can get him to drop it.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Oh, wait a minute. You can cancel your end turn. I'm going to dash next to him.
Blood comes
So
east
now
these
I should
days.
have a sneak attack. I can run. I only moved 25, so it is what it is. Let's see. Lizelle.
Ascend.
Already looted that one. I keep hoping for a...
Taking position.
Okay, so she's going to dash next to him.
Need to stay
Shadow
focused.
Heart. This has a 60-foot range, so she is going to command him to drop his weapon. He saved against it.
Moving.
She's going to move up. She will try again next turn.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
I could do an offhand attack, but I don't have anything to offhand attack. If I had two hand crossbows, I might still have a offhand hand crossbow attack.
Time to strike.
I'm going to be upset if he one-shots Lizelle. So sometimes it... Oh. Yeah.
Leave him to me. Connect the transponder. Throw the corpses in the sticks.
Ignore the devil. We must take the transponder.
End this.
See if I can command him. One more time. Drop. Weapon dropped. So Lizelle
Strike.
grabs the Everburn blade
Taking
and
position.
heads away. This is the first time I've managed to snag that
Before they
blade.
strike.
But I still want a hand crossbow.
Never a dull moment.
The hand crossbow icon looks just like the light crossbow and heavy crossbow icons. Everybody's out of range, so I'm going to dash. Carefully looting all the bodies as I dash.
Can't give up. Have to keep going.
Or your spine
This
is
ship
mine.
hits the ground, we're dead. Where do I go from here?
Okay, so can Lizelle, if she can get in here, that threatens both of those.
Another fight. Let's go.
And if I get closer, I will be able to
Press ahead.
sneak attack. 8 points versus 6. Let's hit the big one. That worked well.
Can't afford to let up. Got to press on.
Now Shadowheart got all these range stuff that I didn't put in place. There we go. And now she's going to attack with her bow.
Splendid intruders of what the furnace is ours.
Time to push my luck again.
Okay. Sneak attack.
Something good here, I hope.
Swift and lethal.
Okay, so as far as loot went, we kind of bottomed out on this one. Except for this one. Everburn Blade. 2d6 plus 3 slashing, plus 1d4 fire, great sword. So I will be using this on my tank, whoever the tank is. I don't know what happens when we make this next transition, so before we go any further, going to send all of my lootish things and my interesting things to Tav.
What's the plan?
And Shadowheart. Oh, she has a mysterious artifact. It's supposed to stay with her, but if you kick her out of the party, you'll find the artifact now in your inventory and it'll be impossible to give it back. So, my take on it is don't kick Shadowheart out of the party. That's simple. There are no other clerics that you'll recruit. So the only time you would kick her out is if you are a cleric. And if I was going to build a cleric, I would start with the Shadowheart background anyway. So, just leave her in the party. Besides, she's a neat character.
Have to keep going. Swift and lethal.
And I think,
Just so.
yeah, let's end this.
The helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
So it took me about an hour and a half to build a character and to get through the prologue. And I still managed to pick up the sword. I didn't have to kill the big boss, but I did have to take chances and use command. And I did not have to do any save scumming to do this. However, I still don't have any hand crossbows. It's a shortcut scene. I'm going to let it play.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Where did I land?
Chaos of the crash site confuses the landscape. You'll need to find a settlement or landmark, and you'll need to do it quickly. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
Hey, there's Shadowheart over there. Anything else going on here? Let's take a look at the journal. So we've rescued Shadowheart. We've escaped the Nautiloid. And our quest now is to find a cure.
No traps, please. Another step forward.
Hey, Shadowheart. Shadowheart. You okay? Wake up.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible? I remember the ship. I remember falling. Then nothing.
Do you have any idea where we are?
No, I don't recognize this place. But anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first, we need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads. You might want to reconsider calling her a friend. Looks like she ran off without us. We need each other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company. One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Okay. Let's get the party squared away, and then I'm going to cut to a new recording. So, we need to level up, and we need to deal with our inventory. First of all, you get a light crossbow. We sort. How about by weight, then by value, and then by type. We have this really great two-handed sword. All we need is somebody that can wield it. Supplies, go in there. I think I stole her stuff, didn't I? Oh, she doesn't even have bags anymore. I didn't steal her bags, did I? Well, she doesn't really need them, but kind of strange because usually she has an alchemy pouch, camp supply pack, and keychain on her. Well, let's give her one scroll of Revivify. And see, a couple of health potions. Okay, now. As for the rest of this, I'm going to send a bunch of things to the camp. I'm going to keep the Everburn blade in case I can hand it to somebody. I don't think anybody's going to use hand axes or scimitars. We may need short bows and short swords. Simple robes, later, ring, burnished necklace. These are all loot items. The Dark Mind, I don't know what to do with it. Lithid manuscripts. These throwables I can never remember to use, so I don't even bother carrying them now. Send to camp. Now, if I try to wield this, it's -1. So very hard for me to swing, but it does a lot of damage. And if Shadowheart tries to wield it, well, she does a little better with it than I do, but still not good. So really neither one of us can wield it. And with that, it's time to cut the recording and come back with episode 2.